Hello, everybody. Welcome to Geology. My name's Kevin. Glad you're here. I want to do a quick intro video to say basically how the course is lined up and then what we'll be doing broadly. What are the broad themes of the course? This is the version from actually this past fall, but I came to it so that you'll see what we're looking like by the end. Here's our table of contents. So if you go to content, and I'm in student view right now, so yours should look pretty much the same. You got the introduction and important documents, and then segment by segment going through the whole course until we get through segment 7 and the final. The 3-week version, we're not going to do a midterm, so that won't be part of it, but everything else should look like that by the end, but I rolled it out bit by bit as we go. So here's what we have so far set up in your version, the winter version, the introduction and important documents, and then segment 1 so you can start working on that. Each segment will have the beginning a survival guide, and this will basically have the things to do, right? So the required reading, which is also on the other thing I'm going to show you. It's on the course schedule. Some videos, and that's how I'm going to do the notes essentially. And the course, the basic schedule for that segment, and then the quiz date usually is written down there at the bottom. But when it's time for the quiz, that'll be back one folder into the segment 1. So there's a survival guide, and there's all the stuff that you're going to do throughout the course of that segment. And really, it's going to revolve around the quizzes. If there's little activities and things, they're not going to be submitted. That's going to be to help you get closer to doing well on the quiz. And then when it's time for the quiz, that'll pop up right here. Right? I'm back in student view. Let's turn that off. The introduction, make sure you take your time and check this stuff out. This is probably the most important thing you can do on the first day, is go through all of this. About your instructor, that's just some stuff about me. Maybe that one's not critical. The syllabus, the calendar, and the course schedule. So the calendar is just a graphical version of what we're going to be doing in these short 3 weeks. It's a big ask for all of us to fight through an entire course in 3 weeks. So I've got it broken down strictly by these segments, and this is when we're doing it. And we just can't have the scenario where we get over here to like Christmas time and we're coming back to try to fix things in 1, 2, and 3. The as covered in the syllabus that we'll talk about in a minute, it's not going to work. So print this, use this as a picture as your desktop background, do whatever it takes to really get this locked in. Christmas Day, I did leave blank so that we could have, Christmas, right? That does mean that 6 and 7 kind of had to be mushed together. That would have been normally like these 2 days would have been 6 and these 2 days would have been 7. So I'm going to just open 6 and 7 to work on at the same time through your own pace. My guess by the time you get this deep in the course, if you've made it that far, is that you kind of have the flow of what we're doing down. And over the course of those 3 days, you'll do that a little bit more at your own schedule. The other ones are all strictly set within these time periods, and that's the only time that we'll be working on them. Going back, you can go to the course schedule, which actually also has at the bottom, it has that calendar printed out again. But this will have more specifically the dates, how many days it is, the chapters out of the book you're going to read, and then when the quiz will be open. I put them in red because that's it. This is your notification. There probably won't be like the notifications within Brightspace to say quiz is open, do it. This is it. You put that in your phone, you put that on your desktop, you tape it to your wall, whatever it takes to make sure that you're ready for those. I plan on having them open like the whole day pretty much. I think I say that down towards the bottom. I'll get them open in the morning, and they're due by 11:59 is how the system does it that night. All right. For the textbook, it's free. It's online. When I do the notes, what I tend to do is use the PDF version. So if you want yours to look the same, I just recommend using those. So I think this is in the first one, right? So you open the PDF, and again, in the notes, this is what I talk through. You're going to read through some of this. If you watch my videos that use these, I'll say maybe what parts I'm focused on more than others. I don't do every single bit of every chapter, so watch the videos. The videos are meant to be like what would be an in-class lecture if we had that time and ability, but we don't. We're doing this online. All right, what else? The syllabus. Check that out quick. Let's take a step back here. I'm throwing a lot of rules at you. What are we doing here? Geology is like the lens that I look through when I'm driving around, when I'm looking at things. Once you develop this understanding, you really look at the planet differently. How do we deal with and like plan our lives or understand our existence when we know that the planet is 4.5, 4.6 billion years old, and yet I've been here for 40 something of those. Our whole entire civilizations, even if you go back to the ancients, have been here for thousands. So that's not that much compared to 4.5 billion, right? So like how briefly humans have been alive, and especially civilizations have been in existence. The way that we use resources, the way that we use the planet, the way we treat the planet, that's a different understanding when you realize where that stands on a timeline. So how do we use resources? How do we plan like where a city should be? It says that through here. Humans have built cities through the years driven by shipping, manufacturing, technology growth, whatever. There was not a geologist standing there saying, this isn't a good idea. Don't put a city here, Where New Orleans sits is not in an ideal situation for longevity, for sustainability. Now, I'm not saying everybody out of New Orleans, we're knocking it down and starting over, but where can we like have our understanding of how geology works with where that city is, and strive for sustainability? How many cities in the West Coast are right on a major transform plate boundary? And then the earthquakes that leads to. How many cities on Earth are sitting right next to volcanoes? Nobody was around planning it for those at those times. Cities just develop because they develop economically. But now that they're there, we have to like have an understanding of how this thing works. I think of the planet, and I'm not unique in this. This is somebody else's idea, as like a big spaceship. It's whipping around the sun. It's spinning on its own, and that sun is moving through our galaxy. It's crazy, the scenario that we're really sitting in, and all of the things that can happen. Ask the dinosaurs. Didn't work out too well for them. They had a long time on Earth, but then it was over because of what happened to the spaceship as it was flying around. So maybe we should like understand the basics. Maybe we should understand how tectonics work. If you live in a house, you're going to want to understand the basics of how that house works, where the hot water comes from. If part of your house exploded every couple of years, you would probably want to get to the bottom of that, right? Well, the planet is your home. Parts of it do shake or explode or flood. So let's figure that out, right? We live here. That's the why. All right. So what are we going to do to make sure we make it through this, especially in 3 weeks? Stick to that course schedule that is available in the important documents. The people that don't make it in these courses, it tends not to be for a lack of understanding. If you can fight through the videos, fight through the reading, you're going to make it. It's the people that around segment 4 say, oh, I forgot to do segments 1, 2, and 3. That's going to be where it gets to be too late. Keep in contact. Students that reach out to me ahead of time usually leave like good reviews on the surveys at the end, and people that, and this was an epidemic in the fall, wait until the end and then say, oh wait, I didn't do any of those quizzes. Can I go back and do those? I'm sorry, that's bad news on those. And I'm going to show you where it says that down here. Be respectful. We're all in this together. 3 weeks. It's going to be hard because it's so much. You're going to be working. It's close to doing a week's worth of work a day. But then at the same time, you look at that calendar, you're going to be done with this right after Christmas, before New Year's, which is great. Contacting me, email is the way to go. I'm on it like all day long. I'm constantly checking it. I'll be back to you as soon as I can. I don't have like an office phone number at Oswego. I'm not going to be on campus very much at all. I said this, if you'd like to meet, I can stop by campus like on my way home. I also teach high school. That's not really going to be very easy in the winter unless somebody's in Oswego. So we can do that. We can do Zoom or the Google chat function, video conference function, whatever works. I suppose this live review, I should have taken that out of the syllabus too, because we're all scattered here over break. But I'm always available. We can meet if you need. Grading, 10% will be on discussions. Why did this not change? Because I'm in the fall one. Sorry about that. Let's go to the appropriate syllabus. Everything's the same. That says winter now. All of that's the same. All of that's the same. But I changed this a little bit because I got rid of the midterm. We're not going to do a midterm in a 3-week course. So 10% will be discussions. 60% will be the segment quizzes. We have 7 of them, and we're going to drop one. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Basically means each is 10%. Sorry about that. And then 30% will be the final, and it still says midterm there. My apologies. That should just be 30% final. So the quizzes, please, if you haven't listened to anything yet, check these rules out thoroughly. This is going to be how we do the quizzes. Don't begin them until you're ready to go. There's a timer that starts when you open it, and that's the time you got. And if you run out, that's it. Once the date passes, I'll set it to like so that you can go and look at the questions that you got right and wrong. This is the big one. I'm going to drop one. The lowest quiz will get dropped, which is intended to take care of all of the issues that may arise, right? And this is just like a list of people that have sent me things throughout the course of the year, or the course of my career here at Oswego, why they have missed quizzes. And I can't put myself in a position to judge like, oh, your excuse is more valid than your excuse, right? Everybody gets one, and that'll be the deal. If you manage to take all the quizzes, you'll just drop your lowest, which will work out for you points wise. If you miss one and it's a 0, then that just gets dropped and it's all good. It's okay, right? It's when you start to miss multiple that it's going to damage your grade. All right, so that's the deal. I'll make sure you understand that as we get going here. And I'll look through the quizzes once they're completed. If I see one that's like, whoa, everybody got that wrong, that clearly shows that something's either technically wrong with the quiz, or I didn't explain something right, or the question was a little bit confusing. I'll make sure that those get fudged out so that people don't get hurt by those. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I know it's a lot to ask to like pound this out in 3 weeks. You got to do a lot every single day, but get to the end of it, and we will be sitting there with 3 credits. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck.